This week, human rights abuses in Saudi, the women treated like children. In Saudi Arabia, every woman has to have a male guardian, usually a husband or father, who makes critical decisions on her behalf. She can't get married, divorced, travel, get a job or an education without a man's say-so. In many cases, she can't even get routine medical procedures without express consent from her guardian. A new report from Human Rights Watch says women in Saudi are treated like children and that government policy towards them results in daily abuses of their basic human rights. Farida Daif is the author of this report and she joins me now, along with Wajia Al-Hawaider. Just take us through the report and tell us what the main conclusions were regarding women's status in Saudi.
Well, the report is really an in-depth study of the male guardianship system in the kingdom, whereby the Saudi government imposes a system that basically transfers all decision-making power from a woman herself to her male guardian. And so a male guardian, a father, a brother, even a son, is tasked with making very important decisions on her behalf. In fact, even areas in which there are no government regulations that stipulate the need for a guardian's consent, oftentimes, government bureaucrats will request it anyway because the overarching system in place is one that transfers all decision-making power from the hands of the adult woman to the male guardian, essentially treating her like a legal minor throughout her adult life.
Okay, well, Jiha, let me bring you in because you're a very successful woman. You live in Saudi. You also have to have a male guardian. What does that mean for you on a day-to-day basis? What does it restrict you from doing?
Of course, it restricts me from leaving the house, from traveling, from if I want to continue my education, I cannot do that. If I want to go to a hospital and have medical treatment, also I need an approval from my male guardian. So it just, to them you are like a property. You cannot just have any decisions of your own unless if you get a permission from the person who's in charge of your affairs. I think many men are suffering from this system. They, because it is like exhausting them more. They have their own jobs to do and they are running after every woman's in the family and doing their affairs. So it's overloading them. And they want to give the women at least to do basic things. Do you know that women in Saudi Arabia until today are not allowed to enter government buildings and they cannot go and issue their passports, they cannot get their IDs. Little things like that takes a lot of time from men's life, and half of the society is paralyzed, and then they go and bring laborers. We have about 6 million foreign laborers in our country because they are paralyzing women for not doing jobs.
Well, I mean, I think, there are certainly many women like Wajiha who are taking very courageous steps to denounce these government policies. The problem, of course, in Saudi Arabia is that there's so many restrictions on civil society and on the ability of both men and women to participate in civil society. They're not allowed to form independent, non-governmental organizations, for example. Really the only avenue that is opened for women is to petition the king directly, to petition the governor directly or the Minister of Interior requesting certain rights. The problem right now is that the government is willing to take extremely cautious, very slow steps in order not to upset the religious establishment and elements of society. But the problem, of course, is that there are elements in Saudi society that will always be adverse to women's rights, that do not want women to be in the public space, that don't want them to be engaged in any part of the society. And so the government should not be held hostage to those elements of society, which is unfortunately what's happening right now.